Hey again, guys. It's me again. Okay, so we're gonna do our content lesson, which we've been talking about trees, and I'm gonna read a new story to you guys today. But the thing is like you've noticed, we're not in our classroom, so it's gonna look a little bit different. So we've done crew, and I've done your welcome, and we've done skills, and now we're gonna do our content lesson. So we're gonna read a new story, and this is what it's called, and this is what it looks like. But before we even get there, we have to take aim at our target. And I know you don't see it, you can't really see the target, but I'm gonna have you guys say it with me. Are you ready? I can share my observations and my questions on a new research topic. So you guys are gonna learn something new today, which is great. And then I can determine the main idea of the text, the tree in the ancient forest. So we're going to look at this. And this is our new book, and we're going to learn all about this tree in the ancient forest. And then you're going to be able to tell me what the main idea is. We're going to learn all about that, though, in a minute. Okay. So we go over this. Okay, so we're going to determine the main idea of the tree in the ancient forest. And here we go. Guess what? I have to tell you a really important thing. The ancient. So everyone say this word with me. Ancient. Ancient is a really, really big word, but it's also a really interesting word. So I want you to say it again. Ancient. Ancient means that it's really, really, really old, and it's from a really, really, really long time ago. So this tree is really, really old and from a really long time ago. Some people think that I'm ancient, but I'm not. I'm not really, 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 really old, and I'm not from a really, really long time ago. I'm pretty young. Let's think of things that could be ancient. A house could be ancient. A house could be from a really, really, really long time ago. Or a tree can be ancient. A tree can be from a really, really, really long time ago. What else could be ancient? Maybe your grandma or grandpa has like these, maybe like really, really old plates or really, really old, like things that you use to put your coffee in, like little creamers or like little spoons. They might have ancient jewelry, like bracelets and rings from a really, really, really long time ago. So that's what the word ancient means. Ancient means really, 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 really old and from a really, 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 really long time ago. So we're going to find out about this book and about what this tree is all about, because you know what? Trees from a really long time ago, they gotta be good for something. So even though they're old, they gotta be good for something. Okay, so we are gonna start reading. I want to make this bigger. Oh, there we are. Okay. The tree in the ancient forest. This is the tree in the ancient forest. This is the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, big, big tree. 300 years old, guys. 300 years old. These are the roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows. And I want you guys to look at this word. Well, you can't really see it that good, but I want you to say the word nourish. Nourish, 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 nourish. Nourish means when you're nourishing yourself, you're eating good things. You're putting good, healthy things in your body. So this tree, the roots take all the food in from their roots, and it nourishes the tree. So all the soil and the sun and the rain and all those good nutrients come in through the roots. See the roots here? And it gets nourished, it sucks in. And all those nutrients get nourished into the tree, and that's how the tree grows. These are the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient. These are the voles and mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. Look at this. We have tiny little voles and tiny little mice. They go under, they tunnel under the ground. Let's tunnel under the ground. They tunnel under the ground and they eat these truffles, which are part of the underground part of the tree. And they get all their food from the underground truffles in the tree. Interesting. This is the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and the mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. Wow. So the owl, he hunts. You see that owl? Look at that owl. He's going to swoop down and he actually hunts the mice and the voles. Owls are sleeping. These are the sleepy owlets, oh, the baby owls that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and the mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. Okay, so these tiny baby owls, they're called owlets. Their mommy, who's back here, ready? Look at this. Their mommy hunts the voles and the mice. And guess what? He brings them home. When he hunts them, he catches them for food. He brings them home to the babies. This is the hollow in the tree, home of the sleepy owlets that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel, and eats the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. There's a hollow part of the tree. A hollow means like the inside, there's nothing in the inside. It's kind of like empty. So there's a hollow inside the tree. That's their little spot where they live. So they're a home for the owl. My kids love woodpeckers. This is a really cool bird. He makes a lot of noise, but he's a pretty cool bird. This is the woodpecker. He is searching for ants that started the hollow in the tree, home of the sleepy owlets that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel, and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw the food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. So Mr. Woodpecker here gets ants from a tree. He actually takes his long beak and he goes like this. And as he's in that tree, he's sucking all the ants out because that's what he loves. He loves to eat the ants. Oh, look at the squirrel. This is the saucy, chattering squirrel that scolds the woodpecker searching for the ants that started the hollow in the tree, home of the sleepy owlets that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. So Mr. Squirrel here He's trying to scare away the woodpecker because he doesn't want the woodpecker to eat all the ants. He wants the ants to be in the tree because you know what? He wants to be happy in the tree. He lives in the tree too. He hangs out in the tree. Look, they're kind of fighting. Not fighting, but he doesn't want him there. The woodpecker makes too much noise because he lives in the tree. Oh, look at this guy. I'm sorry. I'm hoping you can see all of this as I'm reading it. This is the hungry, stealthy martin that stalks the saucy squirrel, that scolds the woodpecker searching for ants, that started the hollow in the tree, home of the sleepy owlets that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. So, this guy, the martin, he eats squirrels. So he's after the squirrel. Up, and there he is. See, he sees the squirrel. He wants to hunt that squirrel. He wants to get him. These are the fir cones that fall from a branch and startle the hungry, stealthy martin that stalks the saucy, chattering squirrel, that scolds the woodpecker, searching for the ants, that started the hollow in the tree. The home of the sleepy owlets, home of the sleepy owls, that are fed by the mommy owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. So there's some pine cones, and the pine cones fall from the branch, and you know what? They scare the martin. See, he looks kind of scared because all the pine cones are falling on his head. And he gets distracted. So he's distracted and he can't go after the squirrel. This is the 300-year-old tree that grows the fir cones that fall from a branch and startle the hungry, stealthy martin that stalks the saucy, chattering squirrel, that scolds the woodpecker, searching for ants, that startled the hollow in the tree, home of the sleepy owlets that are fed by the owl that flies at night, that hunts the voles and mice that tunnel, and eat the tiny underground truffles that grow on roots that draw food from the soil to nourish the 300-year-old tree that grows in the ancient forest. And we are it. So Miss Ewan's going to go through it one more time. I'm not going to read all the words, but I'm just going to flip the pages, and we're going to talk about how this tree or how these things depend on the tree. There are so many different things that I read about, but I just want you guys to remember a lot of it. I want you to remember, oh my God, why am I all the way over? Sorry, guys. I want you guys to remember who the characters were and what this book was about, because you're gonna have to tell me later on what this book was about. Okay, so I'm gonna flip through it one more time. Okay, so first we have our tree right here. This is the tree, the ancient tree. This is a 300-year-old tree, and it lives in the ancient forest. And these are the roots of the tree. Remember, we talked about the nourishment. Be the roots, everyone be the roots. And the roots get all the nutrients. Suck in the nutrients and they make that tree grow. That is how the tree gets nourished. Oh, and then we have these little truffles underneath the tree, which are like the bottom parts of the roots, and they start to grow. Then, my friends, the vole and the mouse, see them? See the mouse? The vole is up here and the mouse is down here. They eat the truffles. So that's how they depend on the tree. These mice and these voles, which is like a mouse, they eat the truffles from the roots underneath the tree. Oh, and then my friend Mr. Owl. Mr. Owl hunts the mice. That's how he depends on the tree, because the mice are eating those truffles. Mr. Owl is on his way to hunt the mice.